Oh, welcome into this end of the year week. I hope all of you had a great holiday season, had the family coming into town, or if you went out to visit your family, I hope it was a great one, and you, of course, tried your best to stay out of jail. We have a great week of shows, brand new conversations coming down the pipeline. I'm still out of the studio. I'll return January the 6th, but in the meantime, more conversations right here in the heart of the 618 on our daily show on RiverBender.com and Roku TV. You're wearing the same clothes.
I know, it's weird.
And do you wear the same outfit everywhere?
You told me that I couldn't do a quick change, so this is what we're stuck with.
I am wearing the same outfit this Wednesday. Welcome back to our daily show. On New Year's Day.
Yes.
That's right.
Happy New Year.
You know, I just want to point out for everybody at home that Lacy McDonald is the one who informed me what day of the week our segments would be falling on, because I didn't think that far ahead. I just said, let's just tape them all. Let's tape. What days? New Year's.
Yeah.
New Year. Oh my God, there is no bigger pet peeve. They've all heard it last year. New Year, new me. Oh, it's on site.
You're not going to be a new you?
God, no. I swear if I see somebody. It all changes in just a matter of minutes. Just an epiphany happens and I'm just Mother Teresa. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe I'll just be a worse version of myself in 2025.
I would welcome that. I would welcome the change. Because we all know you aren't. You might, but not if someone just says it as a generic statement, 9 times out of 10, not changing. Not changing. You're still smoking in June. I know, because I said I was going to quit.
Well, we're coming up on New Year's.
Man, my happiness is really showing on this. With New Year's.
Yes.
And all of you that are going out tonight, seriously, call an Uber. Book your plans in advance. You can schedule those suckers days ahead of time.
Well, they would have had to do it the day before, because it's New Year's Day.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Dang.
Hope everyone was safe.
I did really try. I was like, before you go funny, get real serious.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite, and you tell people, you take the glasses off. Well, I hope you seriously were safe, though. And whenever you do go out, have fun, and Uber always. But
yes,
there's always going to be those parties where if you're younger in college, we've all been a part. Well, I haven't, because I happen to always know a guy. But you had to pay for these parties. You don't get in for free. You want a cup at some of these college parties, you better pay your $10, unless you're a lady. And it didn't change 100 years ago, because in 1924 at the London, which sounds like a happening place. Was that a local place? Was that local?
It was on College Avenue, College in Maine.
How did it die out? I mean, that's the name of a champion.
I don't know. I didn't
wonder if that's a World War II not being funny.
Well, but it was before, it was 1924, so it would have been World War I.
Like a World War I tragedy.
Oh, a tragedy.
Like, because it closes because everyone's moved out.
Oh, you mean it closing? Well, I don't know when it closed. There were several fires in that building later, but I don't remember if they were related to, if it was when the London was there.
Thank God I don't do this with current news, because I ponder a lot. Like, I just throw thoughts out. I'm like, well, maybe it's this. Maybe World War II caused this to happen.
Well,
sometimes people take that verbatim. I'm not a historical expert. That's why I do this with Lacy. During the news, I just read what they tell me to read up there, and they write down. But with Lacy, I can ponder.
Yeah, me too. Well, and that's why we do it 100 years ago, because a lot of the people that were around can't correct us.
If it was 50 years ago, I'd be shot in the parking lot.
We couldn't do this. Couldn't do this at all.
Back to Lacy. Okay.
All right.
So,
yes,
the London was a happening place.
London was a happening place, especially on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights in the late months of 1924 and the early months of 1925. The Joy Club threw dances every Wednesday and Saturday. I just said that. And they sometimes had themes. What?
My mind is so messed up. I just thought of, like Goodfellas, Friday nights were for the wives and Saturday nights were for the girlfriends. You ever seen that movie?
No, but I like quote. Sorry.
Anyway, that's the quote, but I thought of it as a 1920s like radio announcer. Like, Friday nights were for the girlfriends. And anyway, sorry, at the London. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, my mind.
No, that's okay. You can do like the little announcer ones in the middle. Yeah. So, and they also had them on special like events like holidays. So there was an ad in the Telegraph on December 30th that invited revelers to the New Year's Eve dance from 8 till early in the morning. And admission for gentlemen was 75 cents, but as CJ mentioned, ladies got in free even then.
I want to see if this is accurate with today's.
Oh, how much that would be?
Honestly, door costs have gone down.
Really? How much was that?
In today's money, in 2024, I steal that from the Carney Show. 2024, $13.30, and normally covers are 5 to 10, so we have decreased in charges.
Oh, yay! I
got excited.
That was the middle of Prohibition, so also if you go to a dance now, you can get a drink if you want to.
Well, I'm sure in Alton we found a way.
I mean,
did we? Were we not a dry city?
My next article is about how a balloonist was arrested for bootlegging on New Year's Day. So
what were those filled up with?
Well, yeah,
Did
I
he
have
fill
so
the
many
balloons
questions.
up?
No, like a hot air balloonist. If he like had
I thought
balloons,
he stuck them in the balloon and like.
I feel like it would be hard to get away with that because your balloons would look very, very wrong. Yeah, it's just air. Can't you see them floating? It's like just full.
Throw them up in the air. And
grain alcohol. Yeah.
So it's a hot
there
air
was
balloon.
alcohol.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So. At the Lion, what was the dance of the 20s? Like, what was the 1924? Because, like, in Romeo and Juliet, they had the little wrist dance. I always laughed at that in school. We had to watch that in high school, and you ding, 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 ding. I would just walk down the hallway and make fun of people, you know. What was the dance, though? Was it like a waltz?
We had the flappers, and so, like, the Charleston, I think, was that time period.
Were they?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, like you go forward and then go backwards.
I was thinking like the Fresh Prince, the Charleston.
No, that's the Carlton. The whole 20s. You're just doing the Carlton.
They're dancing to Tom Jones and he ain't even born yet, you know?
the Charleston.
The Carlston shoe. Could you imagine me on national news at prime time? Breaking news: the Carlston Shoe Factory has been flamed.
They would have to do that thing where it has disclaimers at the bottom as you were talking.
It's mandatory subtitles and subtext on everything. I'd be like the next Bill O'Reilly. I'd be the worst. Oh my God. Some of his are pretty good. Walter Cronkite's are good, but have you heard of Casey Kasem's rants?
I used to listen to Casey Kasem, but no.
Was not the friendly disc jockey that everyone thought of him as. His outtakes are a little bit they'd make Rush Limbaugh blush. I truly believe so.
That's good to know.
But do you know what the dance was? Was it like a waltz? Was it a salsa?
The Charleston.
Oh, the Charleston. Oh, that's what we decided on. Okay.
I think Foxtrot. I don't know. I think it was like sort of like quick and dancey, but like still had real steps.
I always find the 20s a very fascinating time in music.
Yeah.
Because it was right before. This sounds really. This is going to expose truly my lack of music knowledge, truthfully. Because I only imagine, like, you know, like the 1800s, you had like Yankee Doodle, and like that was like, I mean, that was number 1 on the Billboard for 52 weeks.
Right on the Billboard.
America the Beautiful is number 4. You know, When the Saints Go Marching In. Like, Beethoven was rocking the oldies style. And then, like, you go from that to, like, Dizzy Gillespie. You're like, there's not really a transitionary period from, like, ragtime or, like, older music to swing 20s jazz.
Well,
maybe there is. I don't know. I shouldn't say that.
I'm sure there is, but I think that we probably don't have a lot of the like recordings. You know, I mean, there's some that has been saved, like sheet music and stuff. But it's like the early days of film where so much was lost.
Yeah.
Was either like burned up accidentally because it was so flammable,
Reefer madness.
or it was reformatted. I mean, they just like reused film because it was so expensive. So I feel like there's probably a lot of music history that we might have sheet music for, and we might have like things written about, but maybe we don't have the recordings of.
Interesting. I could see that.
Yeah.
No, you know what I'm starting to get to? So we're getting close. I don't think I'll be doing a show by the time this happens, but think about this. Public domain will be hitting the rock and roll era very shortly.
Ooh, I love public domain.
Isn't that going to be wild when Elvis gets to be used by everyone for free?
Mm-hmm.
What's Shaq going to do? You know he owns Elvis's name.
Does he? I didn't know that.
God bless me. Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Part of Michael Jackson's too.
Wow.
Yeah, Shaq's a businessman, and
Yeah.
he also is a lieutenant general.
He's a lieutenant general.
Yeah, in those commercials on the car insurance, you've never seen him in the general.
Oh, I was like, a real lieutenant general? Like, what are we talking about here?
This is the first time people have watched this segment. They're like, when does this kid talk about history? So how long were these dances? Were they all-day affairs?
Oh,
Like, were they a couple hours? Because transportation was different back then. I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the New Year's Eve one started at 8 p.m. and till early in the morning. It said a lot of time. I mean, everybody was having parties that went into the morning on
That
New
was my
Year's
neck,
Eve.
if you heard
Oh
that.
gosh.
Yeah.
So there were parties all over the place. They call it like watching New Year's watch parties, I think. And so people would have parties at their house or whatever. So I don't know if all of them went into the early morning, but I assume a couple hours, probably, I don't know, 3 hours, 5 hours, something like that. Anyway, and there were several other ones too that were really fun. They had one so they had Christmas Eve as well as the New Year's Eve. They had Valentine's Day. They had what they called a Sodbusters Ball in March of 1925, where it was said to be, and I quote, the first farmyard frolic ever attempted in this city. And they promised something unique in the way of entertainment when the hay slingers and apple knockers meet. And they encouraged people to dress for the occasion, I guess, in sort of farm wear. And that was open. They made sure to say that was open to the public. So there were all kinds of dances with themes and everything. And they'd had a masquerade dance the last October with pumpkin pies and everything. And then the next year, so they'd done Tully's Grove and Godfrey for the previous summer. And then in 1925, they leased the Yost Pavilion on North Rogers Avenue. So they had open air dances thrown by the Joy Club when it was warm out. And then they switched to the London for the colder weather.
Wow.
Yeah. So there were a lot of dances going on all the time. And I looked too, even when the Joy Club was no longer holding dances or no longer existed. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any references to it after 1925, but the London was still holding dances. Other people were throwing dances there. And then there were several dance studios that had lessons there. So they used it for multiple things. But yeah, there were several like dance halls in the area that you could go to for these events.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Take a quick break. We'll come back and chat more about this.
All right.
Right after this on Roku TV, RiverBender.com.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Dibs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit villagedispo.com and shop now.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight.
Yeah, welcome back. A little shot of the nation's capital. You know, why not? What the hell? Yeah.
With the wreath and stuff.
Not very many presidents came to Alton.
Well, some did.
Some, but I mean,
Yeah.
out of the 40, where are we at, 47 now? Out of the 40, well, there's been 44 different ones, right? 40 different ones, 35. Anyway, like 2.
I think we've had more than that with Lincoln.
John Kennedy.
Didn't Barack Obama go to like SIUE or something? He was around
I
here.
thought that was Joe Biden that was at Alton. But that was before his presidency.
I think Obama was at SIUE when he was campaigning the first time. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. And then there have been there was at least one like train stop for a presidential candidate or a president. We've had some. I think it's more than 3.
I think it needs to be more. I think we need to be like one of those like Des Moines. You know, like they always have those weird spots and nobody's heard of in Iowa.
That's because of the caucus in Iowa. Like they have to butter up Iowa because of all the...
it's time to move on. I think that's what I'd tell them. I'd say I'm going to pick Alton. I'd be done out of the primary in 2 days. Where is he? He's at Alton. Why? Why is he not at the Dolly Madison dinner?
Why?
He said he's going to pick Alton as the next town. He wants this to be what the Dolly Madison dinner is.
Like at the Alton Expo, like pictures you
that's
like
the
riding
new presidential. Like that's how you know who's running. I'm going to set the
Ferris
trend.
wheel.
I'm going to set the trend.
Wouldn't that be amazing if like later
I'm
like
going to
presidential candidates came to Alton and we were like,
you're looking at him. I'm running.
We don't just do the past, we do the future.
We're like that guy that has boot on his head, that Vermin Supreme. Everyone gets a horse if he wins. That'll be me. Alrighty, back to the dance. How long? So this lasted quite a few hours. This was quite a shaboozy.
Yes.
Quite a shindig.
Yes.
Quite a boot stomp.
Yes.
Now, what was the attire? Like, I know you said farmer attire.
Farmer attire was just for that farmer dance. Like, that was a specific themed
For the
dance.
New Year's dance, though, was that the farmer?
No.
Oh,
That one was in March.
So what do you wear for your... What's your New Year's best in 1924 look like?
I think like a flapper sort of style, like the sort
I
of
hate
short.
that. There is
Why?
nothing worse than the flap. This has been like the one thing that's always kind of confused me is like.
Okay, please.
Just never been a fan of the flapper era. Like the guys, like the hairstyle was weird. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
no one needs that much mousse, and that's coming from me. Like, I get it, but tone it down. Maybe throw that hair up a little bit, make it look like you got something. Everyone looked like they were 50 at 16 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just my interpretation. Now, I always say this when I do this stuff. I am in no way, shape, or form David Beckham. I am not saying that CJ's a 10. I'm just saying the Flappa era was not. I think that's one that we look at in the yearbook and go, ooh.
I think you're saying it wasn't flattering for anyone.
Anybody.
Right.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking women or men specific.
Right.
I think it was just an era that we kind of just learned from.
We got the lessons we needed from the 1920s.
and we moved the heck on. It was just time. Because in the 50s, everyone looked beautiful. I mean, everyone's clothes was brightly colored, and You know, I mean, it just looked better. You know, the 30s looked cleaner than the 20s, and we were all poor.
I think that the 20s it was less about what it actually looked like and more about what it stood for.
I got you. It was like a
women,
statement thing.
Yeah, like
okay.
women were chopping off their hair to make a statement about.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like
gotcha.
independence.
Yeah,
and
I get
all
you
of
on that.
And you know, wearing dresses that weren't so binding because we were
Yeah.
just emerging from like the corset. Like
the metal
bustle.
cage that you had to wear. Seriously.
Yeah. So I truly think it was less like this looks great and more like, you know, we're emerging.
Was like
in a
the
new
first
era.
rebellion.
Yeah.
I get you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand a little more. I don't appreciate it anymore, but I still No, I'm just kidding.
You
It
can
makes
appreciate,
sense.
yeah,
It
you don't
makes
appreciate
sense.
it aesthetically. You just
Yes.
appreciate it in a historical.
Now it's not as bad as some of the other eras.
All right, it has moved up the list.
That's going to be one of my. I always wanted to do like a David, because people steal segments all the time. I like to do CJ's top 10, like worst eras. Flapper would be number 1. I don't know what would be. Actually, no, I take that back. I take that back entirely. The early 2000s, 100% the worst dressed generation.
Okay,
of all
so
time.
we're strictly doing dressed.
Yes, I'm not talking about like lifestyle
Okay,
choices.
literally
and
just-
like.
all right.
I'm talking like those jeans that had 8,000 pockets in there. I mean, honestly, they could weigh you down. I mean, you get a gust of wind and you're on 270 in a parachute and you're paragliding.
I graduated from high school in the early 2000s.
So I'm saying, you're looking at a guy that had a bowl cut for 7 years. You
That's
know?
why you hate it.
That's why 100% right. I am like it is on sight.
I don't think I'll ever be able to give up skinny jeans because I went through the
no.
boot cut era.
I don't
and
care.
I got snow. You know, like the back half of my jeans were
terrible.
wet for 5 years.
It's just like, when I see there. I'm going to give you something of a little personal side of CJ today.
Okay.
I do not like when men have baggy dress pants.
I agree with
like,
that.
honestly, it infuriates me. It like you already did all of that work to get a nice looking suit, and here you are with this going on at the bottom.
I agree.
What are you doing?
I don't like baggy. I
I'm
don't
the
like
same,
baggy pants.
Same way with jeans. Like I don't I like the 90s when they had those comfort jeans where they didn't go all the way down, but they were just kind of normal relaxed jeans. Like I can rock those every once in a while, but I got to have slim fit. You know, I like to know where things are on my body.
That's what the clothes are for.
That's 100% right. All right, so with this, was this the talk of a town? Did people like highlight the dance at the London Club? for New Year's?
So there weren't any articles about how many people went to the New Year's Eve dance, but I did find one from October where there were 55 couples present at one of the dances, and the music was furnished by Nichols Orchestra. So they had like a full-on orchestra at a lot of these events. I mean,
Wow.
It was, and one of the things they talked about in a lot of them was in the advertisements for the London was that it was the best order, like the best music order.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like they were really trying to figure out, as far as an evening of dancing went, like what songs should be played first and how to make the flow of
Did
the
they have a
evening go.
porch cafe of Alton in 1924?
I think they had a whole bunch of porch cafes of
Like,
all in the
but was there
1920s.
one staple band that you read about from time to time at these event, like recaps or descriptions?
That's a good question.
Again, don't ask very many. That's one an interview.
No, there were a lot of different bands that I read about, or like different orchestras, because it's every once in a while I'll see one where I remember reading it before, but a lot of times it was like there were so many musicians in the area then, especially because like with theaters, like a movie theater would have a full band.
Yeah.
Because that's, the accompaniment with a silent film. And so and then we had the Alton Conservatory of Music. So there were a lot of musicians in this area, and a lot of them seemed to have their own orchestras or bands that played.
Wow.
And there were a lot, like you needed an orchestra or band at all of these different events because you couldn't just turn on somebody's, iPod or whatever we listen to now, Spotify account. I don't know.
Right. I agree. Here.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with that being said,
Yes.
Was there a contest with this dance?
Ooh.
Like, because how some New Year's parties have like a giveaway, like now you win
Yeah.
TVs. Back then, did you win an AM radio?
Well,
Like, or anything? Like, honestly, not even funny.
and
Like,
you could
that
get
would be
3
like,
channels.
right. That would be like the TV at the time. Like, was there a horse and buggy?
There was one article, and I don't remember if it was the Joy Club or one of the other dances at the London, but in this time period where the best dancer was going to win $2.50, which you can figure out how much that is.
I got you covered.
And yeah, so every once in a while, I think that they did have, and maybe they always did, and they just didn't always advertise it. But I know that
$45.
$45. All right. At least once you could win a prize for your best dancing.
You know, I'm one of those people where if you don't see me moving, it's a good thing. You know, if you see me dancing, it's time to bring CJ on home. It's, you know, like I'm not a mover. I sway. Like I might, you know, if I'm out at a public event and I got to look like I'm attentive, I might, look at that. That's about it. If you see me moving, it's time to pack me into an Uber, the back of a dumpster, somewhere. Get me on home. You know, bring it on home, CJ. How did Alton celebrate the New Year as a city? Like, did they have like a city decree? Like, was there did the mayor do anything for like a statement for 2025? Like, have you ever read of anything like that?
It was just New Year, New Me.
I swear to you. He didn't do it if it was an election year. With that being said, were there any because obviously 4th of July fireworks and all, but like was there any town-wide thing that you knew of or anything like that during New Year's?
Good question. I'm not sure. There were lots and lots of in the social events. Lots and lots of just individual parties, individual dances, or group dances like this. But I don't know. I think it was kind of like now where just everybody goes outside and like shoots their guns off at
Isn't that
midnight.
wild to think about? Like people really did just honestly, not being 100% being honest here. I got, because on YouTube, like they have those shorts and God knows what you're going to get hit with sometimes on those. You just go through a rabbit hole. And it was just like a wedding. And I don't think anything of it because but all of a sudden you hear all these machine guns going off because it was in a different part of the world. And it was, very interesting to see that demonstration that celebratory demonstration is still alive and well. I didn't like the fact that there was a 5-year-old holding a machine gun shooting it, but I mean, hey, it is still a thing. People do shoot.
Yes, to celebrate things.
Wham bam, bing bing. I think. All right, what were the holidays like at the McDonald household?
Oh, like growing up?
No, now. How'd it go? Yeah.
Right. Last week.
You're predicting. You're going to think about this if it goes bad, too. You're going to be like, I told CJ that this was the greatest Christmas we've ever had, greatest holiday we've ever experienced.
Yeah, because this will be like week 2 of the kids being home.
This is a foreshadow.
Yeah. And they're wonderful, but I hope the weather is nice because it's hard for the McDonald family to all be cooped up together in the house all the time.
Fair enough. Lacey, hey, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Put the helmet on. We got this done.
All right. Happy New Year.
That's right. Hey, we'll take a quick break on this first day of 2025. More Daily Show. Next.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze
9:28. Welcome back.
makes me feel fine.
A little bit of change on this Tuesday morning. It is sticky. I mean, it is something out
It is
there.
really,
I
don't know what to call it.
Well, they said that we could get some more weather today in parts, and could get pretty dangerous too when those storms come. So we'll have to be a little bit mindful of that one today. So if you guys are out and about today, RiverBender.com/weather, get your weather alerts and don't miss out. But Steve, back in it. You gave me a turkey a week, 2 weeks ago, and look what I got now. I'm ready to keep cooking. This is wonderful. How's everything been, man?
Isn't that awesome? Everything's been going good. It's just...
this is incredible.
I don't know if you saw the Got Faith Ministry page where I advertised coming here.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? I put... There was like 10 different things. I don't know if there was 10, but it said there was 10. I couldn't find 10. Where I was here. And it had pictures of me. And all of them were like different colored shirts except for yellow.
That's actually really cool,
that's
man.
How my mind works.
I love that. That's actually awesome.
I think there was a couple times I wore a red shirt, but that was...
Well, honestly, I'm looking at it now. That's great.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
How did Gibson girls go?
Wonderful. It was just awesome. I can't say
big crowd
anything more. Yes, very big crowd. It was awesome. And the Gibson girls are going to open up for Timmy Zell this Saturday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you got a big thing coming up this Saturday.
Holy peppermint sticks.
The 500 man or woman breakfast is August the 3rd, which is this Saturday. It starts at 8 a.m. Runs until 10, but it's for everybody.
Yes, it is.
It's really cool.
Right, and that's why I'm really pushing this. The most men we've ever had there, because we give out attendance prizes, and they're going to be some good ones. We've already got 2 $25 gift cards to Walmart.
Nice.
But we give tickets for men and ticket for women, so we can get a head count. Mm-hmm. But the most we've had, men 248, and women was like 159, I think.
But that's really cool, because that one year we were talking, you had women coming in mustaches.
Yes, it was the very first year. Well, the very first year Timmy Zell was there.
Yeah.
We were there a couple years before Tim, with different preachers and everything. But and then the whole original thing was for men. Mm-hmm. A 500 men breakfast, like feeding the 5,000 and getting. There's things for women here and there, but there's never anything for men, and especially 500 men. Mm-hmm. But I've had so many women saying, hey, I want to come. And I'm not going to deprive anybody of hearing the word of God.
No.
So now it's men and women. And people say, well, you need to change the name. It's like,
no.
That's where it started. And that's what I believe God put that on my heart, 500 men breakfast. And
I agree.
So
100%. Now,
this year, the women don't have to wear their mustaches, though.
No mustaches, but you ain't running out of coffee either.
No.
So you just came from Scooters. And
Yes.
Real quick, the Scooters in Jerseyville.
Yes, and they actually own the one in Alton too, I
Oh,
believe.
they own the Godfrey one too?
I believe
Or
so.
Alton? That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
That Bob?
Scott's his
Scott?
name, I believe,
Huh.
isn't it?
Well, this one's at 600.
I've been talking to him.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's 600 South State Street in Jerseyville, and they're going to be providing the coffee for Got Faith, and this is what's really cool. So if you guys don't know, while Steve might be getting some information pulled up there, free breakfast sandwiches and free coffee drinks while you hear special guest speaker Fox 2 News' own Pastor Tim Azell, who's a wonderful man.
Amen.
And just think this is so cool.
Yeah, that was Scott Gaffner.
Oh, really cool. Well, thank
And
you,
he's
Scott.
a very awesome Christian man. And,
Yeah.
I've talked to him many times on the phone, but never met him. And he's going to
There you
give us
go.
coffee, and he told me we will not run out of coffee.
And you get Scooter's coffee too.
Yes.
Good coffee. And that's just really cool. And Steve, it's got to be nice knowing that you have, you keep growing with new people that are maybe learning about you for the first time, or maybe they, have heard about you for years but never really had that opportunity to kind of get together there with you and collaborate.
Yeah.
But this has been really a great period for you.
Yes, it is, and there's just something going on all the time. You know, I the other day I had some spare time, so we're working on September already.
Oh, I bet.
A golf tournament
Yeah.
we're working on, and there's something always going on. Then the second Tuesday of every month we have, or second Thursday of every month we have a free lunch for anybody, but we're doing tacos this time.
Nice.
And we got a huge table, and we're gonna put all the tacos out and then put all the mixings in the middle. It's gonna be nice. And that's, do you remember the taco shells I gave you? That's what it's for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
It's
really cool.
We got that going on, and we do have a car show coming up, and that's the following, the 10th of August, and it's going to be at Sinclair's Foods.
That's a great spot.
And the thing of it is, with the car show, you vote on the cars with cans of food.
Right.
So you can go right in Sinclair's, buy your cans of food, bring it out. We give you a ticket, and then there's buckets in front of the car, and you put your tickets in there, and whoever's got the most tickets is the winner.
That's neat. Well, and see, we've talked, and I really like how you guys do that, because it's not about, well, give us a couple of dollars and for God Faith. It's
Right, no.
Let's help the community,
Yes.
and let's do it through this
Yes.
drive. And I love it, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's what we do a lot. I mean,
I love it.
we actually don't go out there trying to get stuff
No.
for God Faith. It's
No.
we're trying to help other people.
Well, see, the way you're doing it's wonderful, because now people just come up to you and say, how can I help you?
Right. Well, I've got this on my mind. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got stuff.
Oh,
I got so many things. The Steve Johnson, you know Steve Johnson? Bunkhouse Joe's Coffee.
Oh, yeah, I do know him. Yeah.
He's
I know of
given
him.
us coffee every year for the last 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
which I love him and all that stuff. But last year we had problems with the circuit breakers at Walmart.
Oh, no.
We're popping breakers with us making coffee. So that's why we went with Scooters, and he is being awesome to us too. So don't forget our friends over at
Bunkhouse Joe's.
because every year he just gave us pounds of coffee
Oh,
to
yeah.
make, and we just love him.
Just a little bit of an ease of access thing here. Oh, totally.
Now he needs to get a hold of me to get coffee at Sabbath Coffee on Saturday nights. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Well, there we go. Now we got to keep moving
Right.
forward that way. Well, and as we're getting into the 500-man breakfast, which
Yes.
is this Friday, this is wild.
This
Saturday, sorry. But
That's all right.
the fact that August is this weekend is just absolutely incredible.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's like it's over.
I don't remember much of this summer. I'm just going to be honest. This has been a whirlwind.
Right.
This has been a whirlwind. And this.
And it's not over yet. Let's see. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I got to speak at a dinner tomorrow night. First time I've ever done it. So yeah.
There you
it's
go.
at the Baptist Church. They have a free Wednesday night meal every Wednesday night.
Oh, that's
up in
cool.
Jerseyville. Yeah, that is cool.
So for the folks that maybe haven't gone or didn't hear the last conversation, could you give us an overview on the 500-man breakfast?
500-man breakfast. It's it's going to start at 8:00. We are getting food from Hardee's, Taco Bell, and I'm talking 300 sandwiches.
Yeah.
Breakfast sandwiches. I don't know what they are or what. I don't care.
It's good food.
Right? 300 there, 300 taco whatever they are, burritos or whatever. And then Burger King, it's got 300.
That's
and then we
cool.
got 100 bags of donut holes coming from Big Boy Donuts.
That's awesome.
And of course the scooters.
I know.
So we're ready to go. It's just the community, and the people. You go in there, and I don't go in saying, "Hey, I want this free." I say, "Hey, well, can you give us a discount or something?"
Right.
And they do. And if they don't, they usually give it to us free.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and for some folks that have maybe never heard Tim speak, take me through maybe what the audience is going to take away from Tim's powerful, testimonial.
Honestly, I don't know. He's got Parkinson's disease. He just went through a surgery it's been maybe a month ago. He had a back surgery, and he's really doing good now.
Wonderful.
Getting around and
That's
everything.
great.
He is. He was walking with a cane earlier.
Yeah.
So now he's doing pretty good. He's just an awesome speaker. He's got, let's see, that was 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 5 years ago, back on the Got Faith page, if you people go to Got Faith Ministry page and look, I sent 2 things on it last night from Timmy Zell, and it was from 5 years ago. Nope, that's not it. Down right there. From 5 years ago,
Wow.
and there's a section 1 and a section 2, but it talks about his sobriety.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. He's, has an alcohol problem too. And I do too, that.
Right.
And the thing of it is, everybody's, you got over 30 years of sobriety, you still trip, not saying trip up, and I have never tripped up, but there's things that trigger you and it makes you think, and I've got no problem with people drinking in front of me. I don't, but sometimes you like to grab that and go.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's what Tim, and he helped us get this 12-step in our building.
Did he really?
Yeah, just by, hey, what should we do? And then actually Chaplain Mark. Chaplain Mark.
He's a wonderful guy. He's been on this show a ton.
He really got it going. But we got a 12-step for men and 12-step for women, and they're both on 2 sides of the building. But Timmy, and I believe when I heard that, it was 5 years ago, and he had 27 years of sobriety.
That's incredible.
So, and I actually don't even know my numbers because I looked at them. I looked at some coins I found, or a gold card.
Mm-hmm.
You got your first 30 days, and it's 2 different dates, so I don't know what's going on. I know it's over 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Well, and this is just another great opportunity for the community to come together here. August the 3rd, 500 man or woman breakfast at the Jerseyville Walmart, right up there in Jerseyville.
With our Gibson girls.
Oh, and the Gibson girls. Can never forget the great Gibson girls.
Awesome. They do so much for the service people.
They do so much for the community.
Yeah,
anytime you call them, they're there. They're just wonderful.
They are awesome people, awesome.
Talented.
Oh, did I tell you about the... I'm just going back.
Whoa, what's this?
The Santa. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about the
We gave away 100 turkeys.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
We
man.
had our friends at Walmart donated 129 turkeys, and I gave out 29 to people that I know. And
I got one of them.
And love and trust.
I do.
Right,
I love that turkey. That was a great gift.
And it was a good...
It was a good turkey. Yeah, it was wonderful. But also, coming up, this is really cool. Saturday, August the 10th, Sinclair Foods parking lot in Jerseyville. Cans for Cars Crusade. This is the Help Feed the Hungry at an amazing event. Steve, this is something that you guys have done for some time now. Fill me in if you could.
We've got a... Actually, the cars, and we don't care what kind of car you got. I put my old Mustang in there, and it's got rips in the convertible top. I got black tape stripped on it. And actually, I bought that car for my daughter when she was 16. That was her 16th birthday.
Are you serious?
And she didn't want it. She didn't want it. She wanted a 4-wheel drive. So we got her a whatever. And my wife and I decided, and I kept the car, and I still got it now, decided to go get a fish sandwich, and we ended up at Jekyll Island.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was awesome. With the roof down.
That's awesome, man. That's
it was
really
so cool.
funny.
And she's a teacher, so she had all summer off. And we just hey, let's go get a fish sandwich. And we also want to keep our teachers in prayer.
That is,
I really do.
Yeah.
I'm going off the subjects and everything,
But
but
you're fine, man. I mean, but this is the time of the year where we really need to kind of refocus, right?
Yes.
And this is because people always talk about it. And you know a lot more about people than I do, just from your experiences. But you know, everyone always is guns blazing by the end of July,
Right.
And then when school starts, that's where all the problems happen with kids
Yes.
because you're going 3,000 miles an hour, and then
Right.
you're throwing your little one back in.
Right.
Slow down, smell the roses.
Right, yes.
Go to community events.
yes,
Relax,
yes.
say hi to people.
Enjoy yourself and
That's
just,
it.
just feel God at work.
Yeah,
honestly.
you're right. Well, you're right, Steve. And now on top of that, too, this is a great opportunity for everyone to feel like they're really a part of something bigger
Yes,
than themselves.
yes.
And that's why I think this is great. So registration begins at 8 a.m., awards at noon, first, second, and third for most cans and
Yeah.
goods donated. And now what's the dash plaque?
Dashboard plaques are little things you get, and people put them on their dashboards. And we've got every year that we've had a car show, and we've got it on there. So, so everybody they kind of put all their dashboard plaques up there. But the way it works is the cars come in, they put up. We're going to line them up in front of Sinclair's, and we put buckets in front of them. And you bring your canned goods to us. And by the way, we've got 200 pork burgers we're giving away. Did I say giving away? Yeah.
What?
Free. 200. And MJ.
There you go.
MJ is our cook at our building. He cooks all the time.
Good cook?
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. He was a Navy cook.
Oh, wow.
Cook in the Navy.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, he likes making big stuff and everything.
Well, and now take me through Diane Stumpy's food pantry, if you could.
Yes. And the thing of it is, we don't, a lot of people get food from St. Louis food banks and here and there. All of our food is just donated.
It's just incredible.
And we're trying our best to. Oh, actually, Monday. Yes, it is this Monday in Fielden. I believe it's 5 to 7 pallets of food.
Oh, wow.
Are coming in the parking lot because I'm going to go help. And it's a drive-through. So you just drive your car through, and they'll be loading. I mean, so many people will be each pallet, and I don't know how it works, but she said it's a drive-through.
Wow.
And it's always going to be, I think it's the first Monday of every month.
Where's that at again?
In Fielden Church up there.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I had never heard
Yeah.
that. That's really wonderful.
This is the first time.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, it'll be a good start. We tried to get it, and they didn't want to do it in the city because there's so many food pantries. They wanted to go out in the country. It's like, we could have used it. We really could have. Because we don't,
Right. Hey,
that's what. Oh yeah, this here.
Wanted to talk about this.
This is Diane. Diane Stumpy was just a wonderful friend of mine. She passed away, but she would. I went to her when I first became a Christian, and she said when she met me, there was a cloud over my head, and I had a trench coat on, and it was at Christian Co-op, many years, 73, I think.
Wow.
I don't know. Anyway, and I would go, and as becoming a Christian at the first time, I'd go and ask her these questions. You got so many questions.
Right.
Hey, the Trinity and and all this stuff, and you don't understand it. And I'd go talk to her, and she'd just sit there and go, yeah. And I would figure out whatever I had. My question was myself, and that's what I try to do to people now. I just sit there and listen to them, and they'll figure it out themselves. So instead of, and I don't know. All I can do, like sobriety, all I can tell you is what I did and how I did it. I mean, I think I've told you this before, where I've woken up in ditches before.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, it's a rough thing. And then you just want to give back to the people who've got that problem.
Right.
And Diane always, she was big on drugs and alcohol, and she didn't have a problem, but she liked helping people. So anyway, this was an award, a Human Rights Award we had given to her, and then Janice Arnold's got one.
Oh, wow.
And Miss Martha's got one.
Oh, she deserves
Miss Martha
it,
Harpstar. But we've got two. We've got three that we're going to give out. Two of them Saturday, and then one another time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, though, Steve.
Yeah, and we normally do one a year, but we went back in COVID. We didn't do,
Yeah. Nightmare.
Well, yeah, it's just, it's really changed our lives, honestly.
It really
If you
has.
sit and think about it. So many things that we could have did and we didn't do, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm going off subject again. Holy peppermint sticks.
It's all good. I just wanted to make sure that we came back and really touched on this. The big, you okay?
Yeah, it's good.
The big thing is coming up in just a few short days. You have the chance to hang out with Tim Ezell from Fox 2 News this coming Saturday, and this starts at 8 a.m. on Saturday, August the 3rd at the Jerseyville Walmart. Plus, wait, there's more. You got the Gibson girls that are going to be playing that morning as well. You're going to pray for good weather and great participation.
Yes.
Then
all that food also.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's 900 sandwiches we got.
It's incredible, man.
And these sandwiches are not, these are $3 sandwiches, you know. They're good sandwiches.
It's just incredible.
So and then the coffee, of course. Yeah, it's just going to be...
It's just incredible, man. And then coming up to just following the August 3rd date, a week after that is Saturday, August the 10th, the Sinclair Foods parking lot in Jerseyville. Entry fee for anyone that wants to be a part of the car show is 6 canned goods.
Yeah.
Registration begins at 8 a.m., awards at noon. Now, this is how it works. You go in and you go to Sinclair Foods, hopefully, and you walk in and you grab some canned food items.
Right.
You go out to the parking lot, you see the cars, and you put your canned food item in for your vote.
No,
you
come to us.
Oh.
Give us your canned foods, and you don't have to buy. You just bring us canned goods. And you come to us, and we give you a ticket.
Oh, you give the ticket out. Okay.
Because a lot of these people, I don't think these are ones, but a lot of these people's cars are more than my house, honestly.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, that makes sense.
And they don't want
you-
the cans of food by their car.
Makes
I think
sense.
the very first ones we had at the fairgrounds, the very first one I did out in the field, and I had it set up so nice and everything, and didn't have a good turnout. And it's like, why? We don't take our cars on grass.
Oh.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
But, you know, and they're saying they're expensive.
Oh, yeah. No, these are big boys.
And they don't take them out in the rain. They don't do this and that.
No.
So we don't want the cans to buy them. You bring your cans to us, and you get a ticket for every can of food.
There you go.
And then I think, let's see, I can't think of his name. He's out of Calhoun. He comes every year. And I think last year he brought 204. He's never lost. Let's put it that way. 248 cans of food.
That's
like
incredible.
No, it was 260 something.
That's incredible. Well, you can also get free pork burgers and drinks that day from MJ Newberry on the Grill.
Yeah.
That's Saturday, August the 10th, and that runs from 8 a.m. until about noon. You can contact Steve Pegram for more information.
Yes.
Steve, anything else I'm forgetting about today, man?
There's so much out there. It's just unbelievable. But no.
Man, you and I are kind of just in the sinus route today.
I know, isn't it?
We're
And
going to
it's
get through
just-
this together.
Yeah, oh yeah, you bet.
We're
You
going to
bet.
get through this together.
We will.
Only the strong survive, Steve.
You bet. You bet.
But guys, seriously, if you have the opportunity, stop by Got Faith or the Walmart in Jerseyville this coming Saturday to see Tim Ezell in that wonderful 500-man breakfast and woman breakfast. Then that following week, pop back up there, bring some canned goods, and keep supporting Got Faith all week long.
Yes, definitely.
Steve, always good talking to you, man. Man, we've been talking for 30 minutes already.
It doesn't feel like it. And from here, I've got so many stops on the way back.
Yeah.
Working on some stuff, and just got a lot of places to go. Unbelievable.
No, you work harder than one of the hardest working people in the area. You really do boogie, man.
Well, I try my best. Let's put it that way.
Well, and that's why Got Faith is still rocking and rolling, and all of you guys love what they're doing here.
One more.
Throw it out.
And, you know, everybody says, Steve, you do such a good job. You do this, you do that. Honestly, it's not me. It's God working through me. But there is so many people that volunteer, and it's them who do it, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's God working through them. And I just want to take my hat off to all the people that volunteer for us and help us out. And just all I can say is thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, you're right. I mean, because you do have a great core group of folks, and then you have great...
And you just tell them what to do, or they know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? And it's got to work.
Absolutely, Steve. 9:51's the time on this Tuesday morning. We'll take a little bit of a pause here. Steve, you finally got in that yellow shirt.
I did. Isn't that cool?
We'll take a quick break. Daily Show on a Tuesday in the studio that feels like Miami, Florida, right after this.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off dog walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
You on the screen here today. How are we?
How's everybody doing this morning?
Oh, doing great, sir. Thank you so much for your time. You know, last year, before we get started, you guys rocked the Alton Amphitheater, and it was one of the most exciting shows that we've seen there in quite some time. If you remember a little bit of it, how was your time in Alton last year?
I had a ball. You know, our whole thing is energy, right? And I've been a DJ all my life. So, you know, back in the day, if you couldn't keep the dance floor packed, you weren't a good DJ.
Yeah.
So I kind of keep that, you know, that's something that never goes away. So our focus when we're on that stage is to try to give people the greatest entertainment and the greatest time full of energy that they've ever had. And I think we did that well.
Absolutely.
So we had a ball. We had a ball.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't know. I love the amphitheater and seeing that river behind you guys as you were playing, man. It was just awesome. And thank you again for stopping by to Alton. But really just excited to have you here. Someone that's, you know, really just kept your career going, not really a low point in it. And that's what I think so incredible is the fact that we're always, you know, innovating. We're always, you know, re-evolving who we are, how you are as a performer. And it reflects onto all of us as people. You know, take me through the career you've had and how important it was to always constantly evolve and find that next thing.
Well, you know, life, I tell people this all the time. Life is baked in the cake, right? So the whole goal is not to get blindsided. So throughout my career, I've been blindsided many, many, many times. And the key is to vow that it'll never happen again. And you do whatever you got to do to educate yourself on whatever it is that had you stuck so it doesn't happen again, right? And I've become masterful at it. And, you know, we've been doing this is 30th year, Whoop, there it is. And, you know, we've been able to manufacture a great career on one song, but that takes work, right? So that takes, learning your lessons. That takes, if you make a mistake, own up to it and take the responsibility for it and correct it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just doing that over and over and over and taking life challenges and turning them into gold. That's what I do. So I challenge everybody, because I'm a motivational speaker. My main thing is I challenge everybody to find the positive in the negative.
100%.
And if you concentrate on finding the positive in the negative, that's where the true nuggets of gold lie. And now your mind is truly open to every possibility imaginable, and you're not stuck because you're thinking negative about every situation.
And that's a perfect segue into what I was wanting to hit on next, is the fact that, so many of us, and I've come into this all the time, just being the young guy that's done the radio show for 6 years in different facets, is I feel like sometimes as people, we don't open ourselves up to those new horizons. We always kind of shut the door and make sure what works right now is what works, and this is what we're focusing on. How important is it for you to be open to these, different thoughts, these different ideas, these different trajectories, to realize, hey, there's more to life than just this one facet of it?
Couple of things. Over my year, I'm more mature and more seasoned, and what I've learned is that you cannot let life pass you by. And that's what happens to a lot of people. I see a lot of people that used to be youthful and vigorous and always wanting to learn and always wanted to soak up stuff and always wanted to, meet the challenges of life, just kind of stop. And what happens is life passes them by. And then when they want to do it again, because you didn't try to keep up, you're kind of lost in the sauce. And now it's just hard to recover from anything. And, I've watched a lot of people I love do that. And, to me, I think that's what, makes people leave this earth a little bit earlier than they want to and leave this earth a little bit unfulfilled, right? So I just vowed that I'm never going to let life pass me by. And I wish that I wish that I loved to learn how much I love to learn when I was younger, right? But, back then I was just learning. I had to learn how to learn, right? And when I say learn how to learn, well, if I want to do something new, how do I learn about it? And people ask me this all the time. And the one thing I tell them, if you want to learn something and you want to learn it quick, join an organization, association, or a society. And I'm a part of about 30 different organizations. So when I want to learn about how to be my own publicist, I joined the Public Relations Society of America. Go to their convention, put on a big Boom There It Is t-shirt. Now I'm meeting all kind of colleagues, and everybody is just giving me vital information, because organizations are filled with people who love their profession, that have been doing it 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Wow. And they can't wait to tell you everything about what it is that they know. So now you're getting firsthand, information of how a person took a 10-year career and made it successful, 20-year career and made it successful, 30-year career and made it successful. And now you're privy to all of that information. Now it's up to you to put in the work. And like I said, I'm part of 30 different organizations. If I'm digital marketing organization, SEO organizations, grant writing organizations, editorial freelancers association of America. And because I joined these associations and societies and organizations, I am so much smarter. And you realize that all this learning kind of has a strand that creates a big ball of focus. Yep. And you just evolve. And I'm masterful at AI, I'm masterful at digital marketing, I'm masterful at all these things, and they help me in my business, and they help me keep my career going, because I know how to market myself. And then I could teach my team, and then now they're learning in the eyes of what I've learned, right? So that's what keeps me going. And, you never say never, but as I get older, I realize a lot of things I used to love, I hate, but this is so new that I think this is gonna be one that I take with me to the grave. So I love to learn, man. Well, I love it.
And that's what I think so fascinating too, sir, because now, you know, we're in this digital age where we have all these influencers using rich people's jets to take videos in, and then they tell you it's theirs, you know, and look at this life that I have. But I think it always falls short of the work that you have to put in to get to that point. You know, we all want to have the city on the hill house, but we got to build the hill first. Whenever you started getting into these organizations, did it kind of blow your mind with how just a simple conversation with somebody that you wouldn't know different than Adam could really change how your thought process is in terms of business and in terms of personal growth too?
Not really, because me being a DJ, last 35 years of my life, my DJ booth was always the hub.
Really?
Right? Everybody would always come and talk to me. So I understood the value of conversating with people, getting to know people, building relationships and all that. But I never had to run around and try to find people. Everybody came to me, right?
Right.
So I learned that, and I just kind of always have been able to go into a room and just pour on the current. You know, I could either stand in the back and observe, or I could go to the front and get on the stage and take over the room, right? So there's always an aspect of everything that you've done in your life that you can bring to the table, right? Like, I bring all that DJ experience to the table, but in real life, I just switch it to another paradigm, right? All the, you know, the DJ stuff goes to the stage when we're on stage, but then all the street, you know, promotion that you do when you have a club or when you're trying to put on a concert or when you're trying to do these things. Well, when you do that as a young man, that applies to what you do when you're older, because you understand the fundamentals of what it is that you need to do. And then the rest is just staying up with technology. There's always going to be something new. And if you stay up on it and you learn about it, you know, you'll be better, right? And it's just like, you know, think about, you hear stocks, you hear Bitcoin, you hear all these things that were new, but if you caught them when they were new, you might have been able to jump in on them and have some type of expertise where you can, you know, dibble and dabble a little bit in it. You know, I love my life because I get to do a bunch of things a little bit, and nothing ever seems like a job to me. It's all fun. So that's how I balance everything. But I mean, this is, you know, it's the greatest time in history. That's how you got to look at it. You know, the next day, I can't wait to get up the next day to see what I can learn and see what's new and see how I can apply it and see how I can build and how I can evolve and how I can help others. You know, all these things are relevant, and that's what makes life worth living. You only get one.
100.
You get one, and I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off.
You're absolutely right. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with life will pass you by if you don't jump in and live it, you know, and that's such a huge point. And I wanted to ask you if it's okay, you know, when Whoop There It Is comes out and it changes really just blew up and everything was great. Was there a time, you know, a couple of years afterwards or maybe a couple of months where you realized we got to capitalize on this and we really got to find a way to keep this going, or did it hit later on?
I mean, there was just a series of unfortunate events. Like we're in a 15-year legal battle to that song, right? But I never really wore that on my sleeve and was like, woe is me. I could have became an old bitter rapper, but that defeats the purpose. So I was like, well, if we're in a legal battle, you better become a paralegal so you can understand what these lawyers are talking about, right? Because it was two record companies battling for the rights, and we're in the middle. So I basically became a paralegal, started understanding what it was and how the legal system works. And then I was able to at least keep up and at least interject myself when there was something that I thought it'd be beneficial for me to interject in. And fast forward 15 years later, we prevailed, right? Yep. And, you know, it all comes at a cost, right? But if I had just gave up, it wouldn't have... You know, Whoop There It Is going to be Whoop There It Is. But for me to take advantage of all the commercials, of all the times it's been in a song, for all the time that something good has happened from it, I wouldn't have been able to take advantage of that. And because I've been able to take advantage of that, every year something good happens and we're able to sustain. So now Whoop There It Is in the nostalgia fade. It's not going anywhere because I planted this seed 30 years ago, and now it's a sequoia. You see what I'm saying? So
100%.
I don't expect things when I do things because there is no quid pro quo in life. That's what keeps you stuck. I plant seeds and I keep it moving because you just never know how those seeds are going to grow. And now those seeds are coming back to harvest. And now every year, every day, every month is fruitful for me because I put in the work. That's the key. You got to put in the work. And, you know, it sucks while you're doing it, but do it anyway, because what else you going to do?
Exactly.
You know, so.
Exactly. Sit there and sulk about it. You know, you got to get out there and do it. And a question for you just on that, because that's really fascinating about how you learned some of the legal system just by learning how to be a paralegal. You know, I'm always a believer that you're only as good as your team is, but you still have to know a little bit information about what they're working on. Is that kind of the same correlation, kind of what you were hinting at, where your lawyers are working, but you want to be in the know too?
Well, actually, yeah. And actually, every lawyer lawyers cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do when you run out of money? Right. So you have to stay up on it. You know what I mean? So I had people that would help me, but I'd have to go do the work. I'd have to go find out what emotion is. I'd have to go find out what case law, law is. I had to put together discovery so I could at least have it when I had to go get a good lawyer. They didn't have to do all that work and it would save me money. Right. So that's what happened. Once I learned how that legal system works and how a case comes to trial, I was like, oh, okay. So now it's just about preparation. So for me, that taught me everything is about preparation. We weren't paid what we should have been paid. So I vowed that that'll never happen again. And I became a licensed commodities broker because I wanted to learn about finance because I didn't want to get taken advantage of through money. Right. So I started with stocks. I started with this, but I really got stuck on commodities and Forex. Then I became, a Series 3 broker. Right. And this is like in the early 2000s, but I would have had to give up music to really do that. And I didn't want to give up music at the time, but it was an education on how to run money. Right. How to take a little bit, put it away, fill up a bunch of buckets of financial instruments so you always have money growing. All these little things that I learned came from traumatic experiences, right? So you just vow that that'll never happen again, and you do whatever you can to make sure that it doesn't, at least on your watch. And we're all going to make mistakes, but I love being wrong because it's the path to being right.
You know what's
perspective on things. That's all.
I've said the same exact statement you've made, because if I'm right all the time, then life's pretty boring. You know what I'm saying? And something ain't working.
Think about it. Think about the people who think they're right all the time.
Yeah.
If you're humble enough to understand that you can be wrong and embrace it, you realize that those people are truly stuck in a fantasy land. Yep. They're stuck in a alternate reality, right? And their alternate reality is false. So that's why they never flourish, because they always got to be right. And it's like, you got to humble yourself to, even if you are right, you still got to you still got to come with the premise. Okay, I know they're full of it and they don't know what they're talking about, but what if they were right?
Right.
How would you deal with it? What would you do? And that is where the nuggets are, because if they were right, I come up with a system or a standard operating procedure to combat that. Now, that might not be the case at the time, but at least I come up with that tool to put in my toolbox and put it away. Now I have it for when that situation truly arises, because I thought about what if that person, whatever they were saying, was accurate. If it was accurate, this is how I would deal with it. And now I am truly ambidextrous when it comes to problem solving, because I can humble myself to be wrong, even if I'm right.
Well, and to me, those are invaluable lessons for anyone watching this interview right now. And I actually just got a text from the Alton Amphitheater Commission that said, thank you again for stopping by, and they enjoyed the show too. But as we get past, the current conversation of what we're working in now, you're doing so much stuff. It's just incredible. I mean, you're a motivational speaker. And then I saw some of your stats from just the performances and where you guys went the last year. How important is it for you to make sure, I hate to use the term bite off more than you can chew, but be focused and be organized so you can accomplish all of this? Because that's no easy feat in itself, is that logistics side of where we need to be and how we're going to do it.
You said the proper word, logistics. So what I do is I create logistics maps. And these logistics maps are a map how to hire a tag team. So I'm giving you a logistics map of our experiences, like when we do NBA shows, when we do NFL halftimes. Here's the best, most efficient way it works. Here's the map, because a lot of times people have never done this before. And now we're working together to put on a successful event. And people are appreciative of that. So everything for me is a logistics map, right? And like I said, I have a big ball of focus. And I have to say no to 70% of the things that come my way. Because if it takes me away from this big ball of focus, then now I'm all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. But if it fits in this ball of focus and enhances my ball of focus on what I'm focused on, then it proves to be invaluable in my overall approach to what I do every day. And it evolves, right? Because I become good and masterful at different things because I do them so much. See, one might look at it as I'm doing too much. You're doing all kind of everything. You're doing this, you're doing that. But what I'm doing is inching my way to mastery. Yep. And once you get a certain amount of mastery in things, you know how to infiltrate them into what you're trying to do. Right now, I am masterful at SEO, search engine optimization, the ability to get on the first page of Google for anything I want in this world. Now that's, it takes work for some of the harder stuff like real estate,
right?
And, plumbing and all that. But there's 1,000 ways to ask the same question, right? So if somebody's typing something into Google, they're typing it in 1,000 different ways, but it means the same thing. Right. So I find out where they're typing it in the most, and then where they're typing it in the most, and it's not that much competition, and that's where I land, because those people are actually seeking me out. And now I'm in front of them, and I can provide my services for them. That's what I'm good at right now. I've applied that to tag team. I've applied that to my motivational speaking. I've applied that to my acting. I've applied that to anything that I can do. So I get to apply these things to the things that I do. Me doing this radio interview serves 14 different purposes, but people don't know that. Yep. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that is the key, is getting the most out of what you do. So when you do a lot, all these little things I'm doing are working for me. Now it's
not to, take the time away, but that's a great point, because everyone asked me, I was in AM radio, and we all know that AM radio's taken a bit of a pounding, and who knows. But for right now, I got a call the other day, and all the time actually, and they go, CJ, I just saw that such and such was on your show, and it's because of what you just said, those SEO terms, the ways that you distribute and get out your information. And that's what we do here at Riverbender. It kind of validates exactly what I've been doing for the last year and a half. And, DC Glenn, I think that's why we have 130,000 a month that tune in and watch, is because of what you just said. You have to get that information out, and you got to think in those terms.
I tell people all the time, you've got to get in front of the people who can pay you.
Yep.
Right. You've got to get in front of the people who want your services. You've got to get in front of the people who are interested in your expertise. I'm in all these organizations, right? You know what the one common thread is? That positively, they all work. Some of them make millions of dollars. They all have good word of mouth. But most of them are leaving money on the table because their websites aren't optimized to get in front of the people who can pay them. And that is the key. You know what I mean? Why would I not want to be in front of, if I'm a plumber, why would I not want to be in front of best plumber in Atlanta, best plumber in Alton,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
Best plumber in, the area. But there's 1,000 ways to ask the same question, but I tell my brothers, he's a dentist, right? He's like, why don't you put pediatric dentist? Why are you putting children's dentist? I said, because most people use a regular vocabulary and I need a dentist for my child. I need a kid's dentist. I need a children's dentist.
Yep.
You doctors are arguing over pediatric dental and pediatric dentist, but a mother's typing in, I need emergency dental services for my kid.
Right.
Well, there might be just as much traffic there as for pediatric dental. It's actually more, because it's a term that everybody gets up and types into their computer.
You're absolutely right. And if it's okay for me to ask, is there an opportunity for folks to learn more about some of the things that you do in ways that maybe they can be involved? I know you have your hat in a lot of different facets, and wanted to plug your website, because there's so much that you do in your career. It might be great for somebody in this town to go take a look and just see some of the work you're doing. Is that possible?
I mean, but that's how I have it set up.
Yep.
See, the ability to be found. If you type in DC Glenn, tag team, boom, there it is. You're going to find me.
Yep.
It's that simple, right? And that's how you do it. You have to be able to be found. So if somebody's like, I like what he was talking about, I would love for him to come talk at my such and such, such and such. Well, if they type in DC Glenn or type in tag team, they will find me. They will find a number they can call and they can get in contact with me.
I love it.
So I don't have to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's too much to do when people ask me, so how can people contact you? I just type in my name. You'll find it. Because, but this is the beauty of SEO, because coming into it, I had to disambiguate. Ambiguity means everything is kind of, you might have a person named, Don Johnson, but there's 10 Don Johnsons. So that's ambiguity, because they're all lumped together and you don't know which one is the one that you want to find. So you have to disambiguate yourself from all those other Don Johnsons. How do you do that? You do it through SEO. You do it through taking all the things that you've done in your life and letting Google know, I am this entity and this entity alone. So 7 years ago, you type in tag team, it was all wrestling.
Right.
Type in tag team now, it's all me.
100%.
Different. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. And I've learned how to do that. So I'm in like 5 different masterminds. I still get coached, right? Because it's ever evolving. And then what happens is you come up with creative combinations that come back to serve you in ways you never thought. Mm-hmm. There's always a way. There's always a solution. Just remember that. But you have to put in the work and educate yourself in a way. And it don't ever stop. It's not like, okay, I'm going to do this and then this is going to work. No, it don't work like that.
Right.
You got to always keep going, because there's always a different way. And you're going at a moving target, because somebody might come and say, oh, I see what they're doing. Let me do one better than them. Well, now you're in an arms race to be number one. But if you don't have newer and better tactics than your competitors, you're going to always be 3, 4, and 5 instead of number one. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because you're in the ballpark. People going to scroll and they're going to say, okay, I'm going to try him, and him. Mm-hmm. But if you're first on the page and you got your logistics mapped to where I'm going to show you how to hire me, then they're not going to go anywhere else. And your reputation precedes yourself. So all of these things, that's what comes reputation management, right? Yep. All these things have to be in alignment, right? But when they are in alignment, it's beautiful, because everybody's thinking, what can I do? They want an easy button. How can I do this? How can I do that? Right? And they concentrate on 2 or 3 things, 2 or 3 factors that they think are going to get them where they want to be. What they don't understand is there are 100 factors. So what you do is you got to find the places where you're a 0 and do 1, right?
Yep.
So let's do this factor, and you go down the line and you think broad instead of narrow. It's one of my mentors, Ted Kabatis, taught me that. Very smart man. He said, don't go deep, go broad. Then you cover everything. So if Google comes back and says, hey, we want to take this away from you. Well, I've got all these factors filled out, so that one thing doesn't hate me. Not hate me, but take away from me, right? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can withstand that. And that's kind of, it's what do they say when you're investing? Diversification. That's the true essence of diversification. So when one thing falls out, 2 things fall out, you still are good, because 8 things are still running. And you've got 10 more things that are incubating, right? So when you say, how do you do all that? Well, I do all of it because I don't do all of it at one time. I do 2 or 3 main things, but then the other things are kind of incubating, and I'm getting a little bit better and better as I go. And now I can pull them in to add more value to what it is I do overall.
Yep.
I mean, I know I'm really talking a lot, and I'm
no, this is so incredible. I mean, this is a hell of
a lot of stuff at you, but this is it.
Yeah.
And this is what I speak about. It's like I'm not even trying to be a public speaker. I'm not even trying to be a motivational speaker, but people want me to speak, because what I talk about, it captures the imagination. It's like, I can do that. If I can do it, you can do it. But what a lot of people don't have is that hustle. I've had that hustle since I was a kid.
You're right.
I had a paper route.
You're right.
I had a paper route at 8 years old. I have never, as a grown man, I have never not known work.
Right.
I've always had a job, right? Like, there's certain things in my life, like I know how to swim. I have never not known not how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember when I started swimming because I got, footage of my father just throwing me in the pool. My father was an Olympic swimmer. So the first thing he did is throw us in the pool. And he taught us how to swim before we could even speak our first words. So I've never not known how to swim. Same with jobs and hustle. I've always done this. I've always had a job. I've always been willing to work. I don't care how much. And that's the beauty of it. I want it to be hard.
Right.
Because I know everybody's not going to want to do it. And that's where I try.
And one final thought for you, because we're coming up close, and I appreciate all the time that you've given us. This has been one of my favorite conversations I've had in the 2 years doing this show. For any young person that's watching this today, because there's so many out there in our community that are wanting to start up businesses. We have a nice business community for young people and entrepreneurs. And you hit it on the head brilliantly, and that you got to work. And for all the distractions that are in the world, do you have any feedback, any type of thought on how we should stay focused as younger people trying to achieve?
Join whatever it is you want to do, join an organization and sign up, because organization has all the resources. They have all the financial resources. They can tell you how to build your company on the thing you want to do. Now, if you don't have the money, just call all the organizations in that field and say, hey, why should I join your organization? And then they're going to start pitching you. Well, our organization, you can do this, and we got resources for this and this and this. And what they don't realize is while they're pitching you, they're teaching you. You do that for 2 weeks, you'll know if it's for you or not. Then you join that organization, go to all the conferences, and then you will be up to speed quickly, and you can move forward. Because somebody's going to tell you how to do it. Somebody's going to take you under their wing and say, hey, do it like this. But you being a young person, you're thinking innovative. You're thinking, okay, I can add what I know to it, because you are enough. Everything you've been through in your life, everything that you've done is enough. You just have to apply it to the new stuff. And now whatever you do is custom to you, and that's how you build it out. Now, if it don't work and you don't like it, well, go to another. You can switch it and change it however you want to go, but at least you have that knowledge. And what it ends up being is a stepping stone to the next best thing. Yeah. And you start building all these building blocks. And now you can learn stuff quickly, bring it all together, and then you can start your business, and then you can flourish. You got to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, none of that means nothing. My father just tell me, he was like, I'm working, Dad. I'm doing all this. I'm doing that. He's like, son, you can work hard. You can pray. Because I was telling him I was praying about something that I really, really wanted. He said, you can pray, you can wish, but if you don't get your ass from under that apple tree, nothing is ever going to happen for you. And I never forgot that, right? Because that's what it's about. You can go in these organizations and talk to them all day and do all this stuff, but if you don't put in the work, nothing's ever going to happen.
Right.
If you don't put the shovel in the ground, you can't dig the hole.
You're right. And man, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, this has been such a great conversation, and I hope that it was enjoyable for you too. I'm actually out of time on our broadcast day, so I got to say goodbye to the audience right now, but thank you so much for your time. Just type DC Glenn Tag Team into Google, and you will find all you need to with that great SEO work. And on that note, I'm out of time. So all of you have a great day. DC Glenn, thank you so much, sir. And on that note, I'll see you on the first day of March, and try your very best, as always, to stay out of jail.
To the life he once knew.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof, because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready, future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off dog walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Dibs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. RiverBender.com. This is a moment we won't forget. Man, it feels like Miami down here. Welcome to this Thursday morning, and we have some humidity in Illinois for the first time in a while. It feels like Florida.
Well, we don't have any because I live in the desert in Arizona, so we don't even understand what humidity means.
No,
so.
I've always wondered that, Ann. Is a dry heat still a heat? Because I've never been...
Oh, hell yes. I mean, last summer, we had, 53 or 56 days over 110.
That's right.
And 115 was more normal. We treat it like you treat winter. We don't go out. We don't go out in it. You know, the people that are out in the summer here are tourists because we just run to our cars. And when you put your seatbelt on, you get like 2nd-degree burns.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it's really, now we get used to it. We do. But it's like, I know in Illinois, I'm guessing you have darkness and cold and gray. And yeah, so you get used to it. So,
and that's just summer. No, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Well, this is really cool. Last year, Ann, you were on and we had a really great conversation. And now this time around, we're talking Your Forgotten Sons. This is a really, really cool book. And just the story on how this came together. Take it away, Senator. The floor is yours. How did this come about?
Yeah, all of my books so far to date have been about Arizona, places in Arizona, locations and different stories. But this was very different. A dear friend who I've known for 40 years, I met her when I worked for my first TV station in Columbus, Georgia. She called me and she said, I need you to come to Johns Hopkins Hospital because I have to have surgery and I might be paralyzed from the waist down. Now, why did she call me? Her husband is a soldier who did 3 tours, Afghanistan, Iraq, and he cannot be in hospitals. There was a very bad situation where his men were dying in a hospital in Iraq, I think. And so he couldn't handle it. So she said, come be my healthcare power of attorney. I said, of course. So I flew to Baltimore, and the night before the surgery, she hands me this Ziploc bag of old letters. And she said, no matter what happens to me, I want you to promise that you will tell Bud's story. And because I wanted to make her feel better, I went, okay, of course, right. I'll do anything, right? And the bottom line is she had a tumor wrapped around her spine, and they removed it, and she walked out of the hospital, but I had made a promise.
Yep.
So Sergeant Bud Richardfield was her uncle. Her mother was one of those people who had babies like 20 years apart.
Oh, okay.
He's actually her direct uncle, even though she's in her 60s, so her mother was pretty old when she had her. And so she grew up with these pictures of this soldier on the wall at home that never came home from World War II. And turns out he worked, when they inducted him, they put him in the Graves Registration Service. Do you know what that is?
I do not, actually.
It's part of the quartermasters, and the quartermasters are, of course, people that supply everything. Without them, there's no war.
Mm-hmm.
But the Graves Registration Service are the guys that locate, identify, and bury the dead.
Oh, wow.
Now, think about that job.
Yeah.
Think about it. Now, I was unable to get any of Bud's military records because in 1973, the military personnel records depository in St. Louis burned to the ground. 80% of all their records from, I think, 1912 to 1960 were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Bud's among them. So I had no physical records. So I'm like, how am I supposed to find out what happened to this man and where he was when I have no military records? Well, I started going by the dates on postmarks on the letters that she gave me. Some of these letters were to his mother. Some were to his wife, brand new wife. He just met a week before he left. Some were to his sister. And I had to follow where he was. By following those postmarks, I sensed he'd been in Normandy when he landed in Normandy. He was at the Battle of the Bulge. He was with Patton's Third Army in Czechoslovakia when they were trying to take that country back from the Nazis. So I followed those. I wasn't sure until after the book went to press. I got a copy of his obituary that ran in a newspaper in Vincennes, Indiana, which is where he was from. And it proved that I was right.
Wow.
That he had been in all these places. And so his job, along with the men he served with, he hit the beaches at Normandy. Well, guess what? There are thousands of dead.
Yep.
And not just bodies, but pieces of bodies. And I will tell you now that this book is necessarily gruesome. It really is horrible. If you've ever seen the first 24 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, not Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Where they hit the beach. It's like that. But now the camera pans away and their bodies are everywhere. Now they've got to be collected. They've got to be identified. We've got to do something with them. Not only because of the disease factor, but because you've got more men coming through there, and it's the morale factor. It's the idea that, what do you do when you got 18-year-old soldiers who are hitting the beaches going, crap, there are thousands of dead people here. So the Graves registration guys had to immediately go in, and they dug temporary graves near the beach, and then they had to move them later and build cemeteries. And today there are, in 36 different countries, there are American cemeteries that were built by the Graves Registration Service. So that was Bud's job.
I couldn't. I just couldn't, because we had the chance, I did, to go to Normandy or go into France and see all the flags there that are lined up in that memorial, or not flags, the poppy flowers that are all down. It's so beautiful in France. But I couldn't imagine that, Ann. I mean, you're going and removing a fallen soldier that, like you said, it could be bits of somebody that's just,
a foot. And if you were at Normandy, Bud helped to build that cemetery, and the one in Luxembourg, and the one in Epinal. I mean, all of these, all of them were built by this Graves Registration Service. So you take he was a happy-go-lucky guy. He was a little bit of a womanizer. The women loved him. He was handsome and charming, and he had very little education. But he went to work he was a logger. So he went to work in the paper mills in Michigan, which were an essential military business.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get drafted till he was 29. So because the military needed paper.
Makes sense. It makes total sense when you say that. Yep, because you can't.
My dad worked for Westinghouse. He didn't get drafted till a little later either, because he was working. It was an industry that was needed by the military. So by the time Bud was drafted, he was 29 years old, which made him like a different generation from the 17 and 18-year-olds that were in his unit. So you got these young boys, and they get thrown on the beaches, and they say, pick up all the parts, find the pieces, and identify them. Now, how do you do? Some of them, maybe they had a tattoo or a religious medal or a label in their clothing, but this is what these guys did every day.
Well, and did it, Ann, while there's fighting going on. I mean,
they were right behind the troops. And when one of Bud's letters, these guys were embarrassed to admit what they were doing. Many of them wanted out and they couldn't get out. And they said, look, someone has to do this job. And the military said, this is your job, go do it. And it was very difficult. They didn't tell their family members. Bud didn't tell his family members what he was doing, except for his brother-in-law, who was Regina's father.
Okay.
So he said, yes, I'm in the Graves unit. And one letter said, I'm not embarrassed. We're doing an important job. We even got an accommodation, which we figured was from the Battle of the Bulge. They're right there. The bullets are still flying in some cases.
Yeah.
And even worse than being in the battles are the situations where they have to go back a long time later. And how did I, honestly, there've been no movies, no books. When we talk about war, we see planes fall from the sky, we see guys shoot each other, and then the camera moves on and the carnage remains. So we never see that part.
Right.
It was very hard for me to find any research on this until I found a book called Crosses in the Wind. And it was written by a man who was in the Graves Registration Service, a man who became a Lieutenant Colonel Shulman. And he wrote 2 years after the war what that was like and wrote specific instances where these men worked. And I took some of his descriptions and gave them to Bud, because quite honestly, this is a book inspired. It's inspired by a true story.
Right.
Based on a true story would mean that everything is true. Every conversation is true. Every character is true. But I couldn't do that. I didn't know who his friends were. I didn't know exactly where he was. So I took Shulman's information and I put Bud in some of those situations. And the most harrowing one was a couple of weeks after Normandy. They sent these guys back to the beach. And you know what a Higgins boat is? It's the boat that drops down and all the guys burn. Yeah. One of those boats had been hit with a shell and it flipped, and there were men in it. Now this is like a couple weeks later, and they're underwater.
Oh no.
They're under. Now we're talking no scuba tanks, no nothing. These guys, they said, okay, go down and get the bodies. Go down in the water. They've been down there a while, and bring up what's left. And that's what they did.
Well, and who knows, I hate to sound morbid, but after a couple of weeks of floating in water, your body's already breaking down, and who knows what's there to, no telling what's going to happen when you go in that water.
Right. And the men had to be very careful because there was metal, there could be unexploded ordnance, that kind of thing. But they couldn't say, no, we're not going to do it.
Right. Well,
and so they had to go in, and that was one of the most harrowing things. And then on top of that, they had to liberate the death camp. And once the death camps were liberated, somebody had to clean it up. These were the guys. You could see in his letters how he disintegrated over this time.
Yeah. And that's what, to me, there's no more crucial job, because the way you described it, you're right. You have to be there to bury those individuals, those fallen soldiers, because just the morale thing alone, you're storming the beaches and you're seeing bodies just piling up. You aren't running in the foxhole anymore. You're thinking it's over, and not just that, but just the fact that for him to look at a soldier in the face knowing there's a good chance that I'm going to be picking you up without you looking back at me is really powerful.
Yeah.
Really.
The sad thing, well, there were a lot of sad things, clearly, but it wasn't just Allied soldiers. They had to pick up everybody. So they often, they had to get all the German soldiers too.
Wow.
You can't have any bodies because there can be disease happens. And again, the morale issue. So it was a horrible job. And there was one scene that broke my heart, and it was where the men in the Graves registration units had trucks full of bodies that they were moving to a cemetery, and there were a group of American soldiers marching down the road that they were on. And when the soldiers saw them, they turned their backs on them. They just turned and wouldn't look at them, like they weren't doing an important job. And what I've learned is that these guys have never gotten any recognition. No one ever said good for you or patted them on the back. And I think it's heartbreaking, because you cannot tell me that these men who came home didn't come home with deep invisible wounds that no one ever allowed them to talk about.
Well, and I couldn't imagine holding that role, and I just couldn't, because I'd be somebody that immediately, the moment I have to, start doing that process, I think about everyone's relatives and all of those really, it's really important conversations on, man, what about his mom? What about his dad? Did he have kids? I couldn't do that job mentally today.
They would have made you.
Exactly.
They would have made you do it. And the thing is, some of the, Bud, because he was older, he was made a sergeant before he went to war, even though he came in as just a regular guy. Because he was older, the young kids kind of would go to him and he would help them. He was a good guy. Go ahead.
Sorry for cutting. Was there any correlation or any type of thoughts in his letters about, being an older guy around some of the younger men? Were there any generational, gaps or any, writings on, man, these guys are wild, or what are they saying,
They were not allowed to talk about other soldiers or where they were. But the other thing is that he was an uneducated man. His letters were pretty basic for the most part. And they were, the guys were also told, don't tell your family bad things. Don't tell them what they're doing. He never even told his mother or his wife what he did. Because how do you explain that? Now think about it. You're supposed to go to war and take that hill and be a hero. And he's over there picking up bodies. So they very often didn't mention it. And I only saw him mention it once to his brother-in-law.
I mean, my heart breaks for that, though, because they're as much a part of the fight than anybody. And, and they had to show more compassion too, and more human-like qualities, because you're fighting your enemy and you're trying to get bodies cleared out and you're trying to do your job. And here's a Nazi soldier that's in front of you. And instead of doing what a lot of, I'm sure, grunt soldiers would want to do and, light him up or whatever, you're treating him with dignity to make sure that soldier is being buried somewhere and being accounted for. And that, to me, is, you have to be a certain human to be able to really do those things.
Well, I think, to me, it's probably the most difficult job in the military.
100%.
And where do we go today when we honor people that fought in World War II, World War I? They've always been these people.
Yeah.
We go to the cemeteries that they built. Yeah. And you've been to them. I've been to them. They are graceful and beautiful and peaceful. Where we had killing fields are now beautiful places of remembrance that they built.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
Nobody does. Every time I say it, they go, I never thought about where the bodies went. Well, today, of course, we still have, it's called mortuary affairs today. Since Vietnam, they've called it mortuary affairs. But we do not bury them on foreign soil anymore. We fly them home. But we didn't have that ability in World War II. There were also so many people dying so quickly that they buried them there. Now, some people got their family members back. They had a choice. But the military said, sign this paper and we're leaving them wherever they are. So we were hoping to bring Bud home. He's buried in Epinal, France, buried by the men he worked with. And but the military owns him now, so we will probably never get to do that.
Well, and that's a whole nother aspect that I've never even thought of, too, is, I'm sure there's so many millions of Americans that want their loved one back home with them rather than over on foreign soil. And that's
families signed those papers. And
did they?
Look. Oh, yeah. Okay. What they'd say is your family member died. They've been buried here because we're in the middle of a war. They couldn't, we didn't have the capacity to ship all these bodies home at that point. We were in the middle of a war for 4 years.
Right.
So today we can put them on a plane and they'll be back here in your home in 24 hours. But it wasn't like that then. So they told the families at the end of the war, they said, here, we can leave them where they are in these cemeteries we built. If you'd like them to come home, fine. But if not, we'll give you a paycheck. Here's some money. And many families took the money.
Oh, I didn't.
Now, I'm not criticizing.
No, yeah, totally.
That was the case.
But I'm learning, though. I always love chatting with you. Even last year I was learning stuff. And it's funny. Someone texts me, they go, CJ, why do you always seem excited whenever you kind of you don't know where to go with something. I go, hell, I'm learning with everybody else too, and that's what life's about, is to learn about those things. And really, it helps me understand better about your book. And now as you're writing this, did you have any conversations with your friend on some of the discoveries you found? What was that like, from start to finish? I got to hear that story.
Regina, who I call Reg, grew up in the military. Her dad fought in 3 wars. And she's lived by Fort Benning her whole life, or a lot of her life. So she's very military oriented, and she's helped me immensely with research and to tell Bud's story. And she also, the family had many oral histories about Bud, and she relayed them to me. For example, that he married this woman like a couple weeks before he went to war. Nobody knew who she was, and she was very mysterious, and she remains very mysterious. Lorraine was an odd woman. Have you ever heard of the allotment Annies?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so allotment Annies are women who married multiple soldiers at the same time to get a paycheck. Back in those days, they got $20 a week, which today is like $360 a week. And if the soldier or sailor airman died, they got a $10,000 paycheck.
Right.
That's like $175,000 today. So there were women who married multiple soldiers or sailors. And in fact, the military knew all about this. They had movie reels that they showed the soldiers saying, please do not marry someone you don't know. Please, because these guys are naive. They're 17, 18-year-old kids that came off farms. And they were very easily manipulated. And one woman was married to 6 sailors at the same time.
Were they on the same boat?
No. The only reason they found out was because these 2 sailors are next to each other in a bar in Australia, and they're going, hey, here's my wife. Here's a picture. And the other guy goes, here's my wife. Wait a minute. It's this woman. And they caught her, and she was one of the few women ever prosecuted for it. She was put in prison for a little bit. But the idea is, now I know that sounds horrible that women would do that, but women had never worked much outside of the home before. They suddenly could be Rosie the Riveter or work for the war effort, but they knew when the men came home, they were back to nothing.
Yeah.
So, and there weren't any high-paying jobs or good-paying jobs for women. So I can sort of understand how a desperate woman might have done this, but Bud's wife was so cruel. And the letters, when the family told me stories about her, because I have no letters from her, the letters in the book I fabricated because I understood what had happened. And I don't want to give too much of it away. But bottom line is she broke his heart. In the meantime, there were quiet family whispers that he had fallen in love with another woman while he was at war.
Oh.
So, and he was Catholic. He was married. He was very conflicted about these things. And so I don't have all the facts. Again, this is inspired by a true story, but along with the horrors of war, there's a love story in there.
Well, I'm telling you, and I'm excited to get my hands on a copy of this. I mean, whenever you sent me the first email, I went, oh, man, we got to talk about it. And now, here we are, less than a month away from when it hits the online shelves. Is it going to be in bookstores? Where can we find a copy?
You can buy it anywhere. It's on all of the online book sales. You can go to Barnes & Noble. It might not be it wouldn't be on the shelf, but they would get it for you.
Oh, absolutely.
If people go to my website, which is AnnMontgomery.com. There's all links to it everywhere.
And we'll make sure to link everything in a write-up that we do, Ann, because this is what a great story. Just the story on writing the book itself is amazing. And then the story you're telling is just really fascinating, and something that really does need to be given more of a look into is the soldiers, just like Bud, that are going through and being, what's the actual term? What were they called?
Graves registration.
Grave registration. Oh, to me, so many around here, Ann, are going to love learning about that, because I have no idea until you started talking really about their role, what that was.
I think that by nature, we shut that part off.
Yep.
We go, oh, great, cool battle, air battle, planes fall down. But we don't go, hey, where are the pilots that went down?
Yeah.
Where are the guys in the ships? I interviewed a number of World War II veterans when I was a print reporter for a Memorial Day story. My editor said, go out and do a Memorial Day story. Where are all the parties? Where are all the sports? I said, that's not what Memorial Day is.
No.
Memorial Day is about remembering those who didn't come home. And he looked at me, goes, write whatever you want. So I went to the local VFW and I interviewed some men who'd been in World War II. And I mentioned that because one of them, I asked, what do you remember? What do you remember about men who didn't come home? And he said, I was in a helicopter and they were lowering me down into the water to get some bodies. But there were sharks everywhere, and they were eating the bodies. And he said they pulled me back up and would not allow me to go down there. That whole idea isn't what bothered him. It bothered him that they didn't know if it was 1 or 2 bodies, and that men could never be declared dead because he couldn't retrieve them.
Oh man.
So that's, he wanted to do his job, but they wouldn't let him. He couldn't get down there. And so no one ever got any peace of mind about what had happened to their loved one or loved ones. I think it's natural for us to turn away from that part. The other problem with this, though, is not just us wanting to ignore the dead. It's us ignoring the mental health situations of our military.
100%.
Today, every news show, every day is talking about dealing with your mental health and talk about it, and we accept it, but not in the military.
Yeah.
If you have issues, and there are a lot of them that do, they are afraid to mention it, that it will ruin their careers. And guess what? They're right.
Yep.
It should not be like this now. I watched Bud disintegrate through his letters. I watched it. Now, I know how many men came home with deep, invisible wounds that no one wanted to hear about. Yeah, I mean, you probably remember the time in Patton's movie where he slapped the guy who was in the hospital bed suffering from shell shock.
Mm-hmm.
Slapped him and called him a yellow-bellied coward because his brain went. Now, today we know better, but the military doesn't want to talk about that. It's considered weakness. And in the military, all we see is big, strong, tough people. And they've got to fix it, because every day in this country, 20 veterans / service people are committing suicide. And we need to do better. The military needs to do better to figure out a way to help these people.
100%, Ann, and I can't speak highly enough on that. I used to do a veteran show when I was on the AM dial over in St. Louis, and all it was about how the VA is getting better. But one thing they never tackled was mental health in these veterans and these folks that are going into the military, and maybe some on-hand counseling services and different tools that those soldiers can lead and learn as they're going through their tenure. And then, of course, the resources afterwards. It's just not there. It's just not.
And the military has proven it can tackle a problem.
Yep.
I mean, I think leading up to World War I, 80% of the wounded died. And they died, infection, all kinds of things. Today, 80% live.
Right.
That are severely wounded. They live because we figured out how to set up MASH units. We figured out how to get people home and get people well and do their surgeries. So bottom line is they need to tackle this. They really do.
They 100%, and so many of us in this area will be echoing those thoughts going forward. And hopefully more of a national conversation can be had on that very important topic too. Ann Montgomery, Your Forgotten Sons comes out what day?
June 6th.
That's okay.
The 80th anniversary of D-Day.
100%. And we'll link it on RiverBender.com on the on-demand interview and on our write-up that we're going to do on this. So that way you guys can just click on the link and you're good to go. And thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me, CJ. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Before we take a quick break, and this was not on purpose, one of our biggest supporters now of the show is Centerstone, which Centerstone is a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment for people of all ages. And folks, if you're looking for a fresh start on the road to recovery, a life free from addiction is possible, and it starts at Centerstone. Centerstone is a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment, but their clinicians use evidence-based treatment programs in all of their practices. So it means, Ann, that they're getting something that's developed for them, not one of those tried for 10 years and maybe it worked for some, maybe it didn't work. This is developed for you at home that are going through this journey. There's so many unknowns on that road to recovery, but one thing you can know for sure is that Centerstone will be a constant guiding force for you on your recovery journey. You can go to recoverwithus.org, that's recoverwithus.org, or call 1-877-HOPE-123 to learn more today. Ann Montgomery, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, CJ. That was perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take a quick break here in our daily show. We'll roll right around the corner, right up.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Linux system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
That'll do it for all of us today. Thanks for hanging out with me. We got a couple of great shows left for you this week, and then 2025 starts live in the studio on Monday, live at 9. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more of Our Daily Show. So, until then, one thing left for you to do, and that's just to really have the best New Year you can do and try your best to stay out of jail.